Hey lovelies, you're welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Let's talk about The Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 8. Now, first things first, I absolutely did not like the episode. I felt like the episode could have been kept in drafts. It felt like a long episode, but also a short episode at the same time. It was almost like there wasn't a lot going on and it was dragged out to fill the episode, to fit it in. I really feel like they should have paused filming when the whole Kenya thing happened to figure out what the direction of the show is. I feel like 8 episodes in and we're still talking about the Porsha, Drew, Dennis situation. I'm absolutely disgusted and tired of it. Like, can we move on? It has gone on for too long. And I just feel like they should have revamped the season. I'm not surprised they had to go get Phaedra back, because if the way the season is going is what we are going to be subjected to, then I'm not surprised they had to go get Phaedra back. Like, seriously, it was a bore, this episode. Now, I do hope that the next episode is going to pick up, especially with the whole thing with Charles and Angela. I'm hoping that it will pick up, but I guess we'll have to wait to see. Now, let's talk about Shamia a little bit. I feel like Shamia is going through a lot at the moment with the health of her daughter. I appreciate that she wants to have another baby right now, but it's just like, if things are already at a shaky point where your daughter needs a lot of care, is now the opportunity, is now the right time to add an additional member to the family. Now, of course, it's ultimately their decision. It's just, I just have, I guess, a concern about how much of an impact that could have on their marriage, their mental health. It feels like Shamia is definitely going through a lot at the moment. I just hope that whatever she decides, she is taking the time to look after herself and take care of herself. Now, I do like that Angela is doing the people's work, in the sense that Angela is trying to push the storyline further, and which I appreciate, because at the moment nobody is doing that. It just feels like everybody is just out here chilling and nobody is really pouring in to their storyline and really getting into it. So in a way, I'm glad that at least Angela is pushing forth the story. Now, I don't think that Angela has any loyalty to anybody, not even Drew, especially because they played the scene where Angela was talking about Drew. So I'm just like, if that's your friend, wouldn't you want to address it with her? Why are you talking to someone who doesn't necessarily see it for your friend? To me, it gives that Angela is flip-floppy and Angela does not have any loyalties. That being said, I actually like what she brings to the show. I do think that she brings in very much a Sheree energy, like a bone carrier, someone who is going to try to force people to have conversations they don't want to have. So I like that she is at least on the show to push the narrative further, because at the moment, it just feels like Porsha and the friends are hanging out. Now, first of all, before we keep going, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button, and tap that bell button so you know every single time that I post. Now, let's talk about Cynthia having a conversation with Angela. I feel like Cynthia was able to articulate to Angela why Porsha does not see it for Drew. At the end of the day, dating or dealing with somebody's baby daddy or fathers or whatever you want to call it, it hits differently. This is somebody you have a child with. You don't want anybody that you know messing with them, right? So I actually get it. But I also think it's interesting that Angela seems to be thinking that she's catching strays because she's defending Drew. No, mama, you brought Drew to a place where she was not invited, and you made it a topic of conversation. So, of course, people are upset at you because you're the one that started the whole thing. Now, of course, I know production is probably behind it. Production probably asked the girls, which one of you wants to bring Drew on the trip? And I think that's really what it was. Now, I will say I did enjoy the scene with Shamia, Porsha, and Kelly. I thought that they had really good chemistry. I feel like it would be interesting to see a lot more of them hanging out together because I feel like that brings like a lightheartedness to the show. But I do think like with the show, we want a balance. We want some storylines. We want you to further the stories. We want a little bit of drama as well. And yeah, but the fact that it feels like conversations are not being had, you're not really getting to the bottom of things. It's very interesting that apparently the scene with Cynthia and Porsha went on for a lot longer than we saw. Apparently they were like chatting and up, laughing, having a good old time. Real Housewives of Atlanta, that is what we would have liked to see. Even just seeing a snippet of them cracked me up. So I can only imagine like if we got the opportunity to see a little bit more of their interaction. Like Porsha brings light, fun energy to the show, right? Especially when she's one-on-one with some of the OGs. Like for example, you could see her interactions with Kenya when Kenya was still on the show, and you see her interactions with Cynthia. It's like a nice banter. They can bounce off each other's energy quite nicely. And I think that that is what we would have liked to see. Instead of you guys giving us 40 something minutes or 40 minutes of nonsense, show us a little bit more of that. Let us laugh. Let us have energy. One thing we liked about the OG Real Housewives of Atlanta was it wasn't overly edited. Like they actually gave us enough time to enjoy the scenes. Now it just feels like there's so much editing going on and things are just being constantly slashed. So we're missing out a lot of context. We're missing out a lot of the fun stuff and left with scraps. Now, I did want to address something that Cynthia told the girlies about how Britt was behaving. Now, I do feel like I know people are saying Cynthia is not a really good friend for saying that people can't tell how Britt should walk into the room after something like that happened to her. And I completely agree with Cynthia. And I think people need to understand that just because somebody is your friend, if your friend goes too far, there is nothing wrong in you actually still having empathy to the person who the wrong was done to. Now, guys, before you come for me, you guys know I've done so many episodes where I've talked about what Britt did was wrong. I've talked about what Kenya did was wrong. Today, I want to focus on people forgetting how Britt would have felt to be on the receiving end of that. We've covered how Kenya would have felt. Think about how Britt would have felt. And I think that's what Cynthia was trying to let everybody know. Everybody is so in their feelings about, oh yeah, Kenya having to leave. And I understand because a lot of people want Kenya back. I get it. But at the same time, this woman got exposed for having a D in her mouth. You mean to tell me that if it was you that happened to, you wouldn't feel some type of way? I don't think that's valid. So I agree with what Cynthia said and her calling that out, because I think people seem to forget that, yes, Kenya was wrong. Yes, Britt was wrong for what she said to Kenya. But at the same time, there was an impact of what Kenya did on Britt. There would have been. Who would like to be exposed like that? Nobody. So I don't see anything wrong in Cynthia saying it. I feel like Cynthia did not say anything to bash Kenya in that moment. So I think people need to chill on that, because I saw a lot of people on social media talking about like they see why Kenya ain't friends with Cynthia, blah, blah, blah. I don't really think that's fair. I think that Cynthia was trying to empathize with Britt in that moment, and I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, Porsha, baby girl, I feel like even though Porsha moved on with Simon, I think Porsha would always have a soft spot for Dennis. And I think that is why she was so upset when she found out that Dennis and Drew had been filming. And guys, you may not like her, and I understand the storyline is annoying because it's been going on for so long. The fact that we have been subjected to how many episodes, 8 episodes of this storyline, I understand how people are frustrated with her, but I do feel her pain in the sense that imagine you have a conversation with your baby daddy and you say to him, I don't want you filming, I don't want you coming to my place of work unless we're together, right? Yes, the person decides to pull up and is angry with your co-worker at your place of employment. You will feel some type of way as well. I feel like a lot of people don't have sympathy for Porsha because of what she did with Simon. But I do think if we think about it based on this particular incident, forget Simon for a little second. think about it. Would you be okay if that happened? Even Cynthia said she wouldn't be okay with it. And I think people forget that. And because of how she rolled and moved with Simon, nobody has empathy for her. So I'm sure she is really going through it because there is a lot of judgment. She's really struggling. Everyone, I think, forever will label her a homewrecker. I don't know how she's going to be able to clean it up, but I do feel like there is a little bit of empathy that could be had for her in this particular situation. And Drew, I really don't understand. When you could tell her energy, you could tell Porsha's energy was off. Porsha looked pissed off. She was upset the whole time, you can tell. People were asking her, is she good? She's just like, maybe I'm tired, something like that, and just left it at that, right? So Drew then asking do you want me to stay? And she's like, you straight? That's her saying you can stay if you want to. So then my thing is like, you then getting up to be like, I'm just gonna leave. Like, girl, she was in a mood. You don't even know if it has anything to do with you. It's not like she was cool and kicking and jumping and happy with everybody before you showed up and then had an attitude with you. She just said you straight. So you came all that way. You might as well sit down and eat your food. Now, if we move on to when the girlies were at the pool dancing and twerking and having a good time, what I think is interesting is I have a feeling and a sneaky suspicion that Porsha said that ish. Porsha basically, I think, in my opinion, said if she continues, I will smash Charles. And I feel like that's what she said. I feel like she said it in a joking way. You know how Porsha be joking and like, she does a lot of self-deprecating jokes. I feel like that's what it was. But girl, you need to stop making these jokes, honey. Stop making these jokes. Now, I will say, I do think that maybe next episode may be a little bit interesting because they'll go into a little bit more detail about it. But I think I will have to wait to see, and then we can talk about it properly in that moment. But let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Also, what would you rate this episode? Would you rate, let me know what you'd rate it. I'll rate it a 6, maybe even a 5, but I think I'll be gracious and give it a 6. But yeah, let me know what you guys rated. Don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button and tap that bell button right next to it so you know every single time that I post. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.